be sworn in after the election, and the Honorable Mayor Myers is here to administer the oath of office for us this evening. So with that, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next up, we have Mr. Cross Country in the room. I think. There he is. And I turn this over to Dr. Henderson or Mr. Bronkella. Mr. Bronkella. Sorry, I wanted to say Phil. I'm like, I call him Mr. Bronkella.
I first want to thank the school board and administration for allowing us this opportunity to celebrate some great achievements, not only by Ty, our Mr. Cross Country, but our cross country team as a whole finished third in the state and got up on the podium, which definitely deserves recognition. Coach Harrell is their cross country head coach. He could not make it, so I get the opportunity, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to present Ty. Coach Harrell always has these two quotes, and if Ty will probably be able to recite them for me as well. See you at the top and aim high. Every time I've talked to Coach Harrell, somehow he works those into our phrases, and he probably does that in all your speeches and every email. But Coach Harrell has those expectations for his runners, and that's exactly where they went. They aimed high, and as you see, one of them with his teammates saw them at the top. He gave me this to read, to talk about his team and Ty. Ty and his Trojan teammates finished third at state cross-country meet in November. Ty finished that race fourth and received all state honors. 3 weeks later, Ty ran in the Mid-East cross-country meet of champions representing Indiana, and at that meet, he won the race and was named Mr. Cross Country for the state of Indiana. 2 weeks later, Ty and his teammate ran also in the Running Lane National Cross Country Championship. Once again, Ty and his Trojan teammates finished third. Ty finished eighth and received All-American honors. So I'd like to take this moment to present Ty Garrett, Mr. 2022 Cross Country, and to prove his dedication. As I was leaving the office yesterday, I saw him out running. I thought it was raining, but it was just, he was running too many miles. It was just ridiculous. But congratulations, Ty, if you want to come up.
Yeah, thank you to my parents, and thank you guys for having me tonight. This is my first school board meeting, so it's a fun one, yeah.
So hang on, Ty. You wouldn't know by looking at me now, but I ran cross country 100 pounds ago. So this is what happens when you stop running. So just out of curiosity, what's your personal best?
In what event? The 5K?
The 5K.
14:47 was what I ran last year on the track.
14:47?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you break 20?
I could break 20. I could break 18. That was about it. Well, congratulations. Are you a senior this year?
Yes.
Are you going to school next year?
I'm going to Wake Forest next year.
Wake Forest, you going to run?
Yep. Cross country and track.
And track. What do you run in track?
Anything from the 800 up, really. Probably in college, it'll probably be the mile, and anything above that. So.
Very cool.
Well,
Super proud of you.
further back than him, I also ran, just freshman and sophomore year, and we made sure during practice that the course went by what was then called Don's Garage. It's now Carol's. And we stopped to get, he put it on our tab and we'd pay him later. Coach always knew because we took too long to run the course.
Let's get a picture with him.
Yeah. Here, we'll get a quick picture, Ty.
Congratulations, Ty.
Come on, Gary.
Radical being chased.
This was your idea.
I can do that.
Amy, distance runner. Amy, Elisa has said, if you see me running through the neighborhood, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
think you'll find any of my times in the record books, Rob.
Yeah. I was happy if I got across the line and there were still people around.
All right, next on the agenda is receipt of certificates of the election to the office of the school board members.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Alexander. This evening, you'll find in the packet the receipt and the certificate of the election for the school board members. I don't believe there's any board action required, is there this evening? No.
No, there's no board
Just
action on this.
Presented, you can see the certificate in there certifying the election and the 3 board candidates that are now ready for being sworn in.
All right, and at this point, we will now turn things over to Mayor Myers. You gotta get up again, Gary.
Come down.
Don't stand in front of the screen, your face turns blue.
Oh, it does? It turns
Well, we
blue?
were distancing for comedy.
I know, and my face was blue.
It was, it's horrible. We should have traded places. I may have looked better.
Right there.
If you would raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Scott Alexander,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Indiana
of the State of Indiana
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the State of Indiana,
and the State of Indiana,
and I will faithfully execute
and I will faithfully execute
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a member of the governing body,
as a member of the governing body,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
All right.
It's official now. You
It
can
is.
vote.
I can continue voting.
Yes.
All right. And takes care of that. All right, next up on the agenda is the reorganization of the board for the 2023 calendar year. The first thing up is election of the board president.
Mr. President, or actually Mr. Vice President serving as president, I hereby nominate Scott Alexander to serve as board president.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and the guy they nominated, I will accept. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Congratulations.
All right, next up, reorganization of the board. All the board members were presented ahead of time, the reorganization list that is up on the screen. I met with everybody individually about this. Did Mayor Myers leave already?
He did.
Needed to ask him
Yeah,
about
we
the
did.
Greenwood Redevelopment Commission. The only thing that may change on here is my appointment with the Greenwood Redevelopment Commission expired in August, and Greenwood rotates that around between Center Grove, Clark Pleasant, and Greenwood Community Schools. And the last conversation I had with Mayor Myers about it, they were talking about rotating that over to Clark Pleasant, I believe, but I haven't heard what conclusion that they reached on that. So I will make it a point to follow up with Mayor Myers about that. All the other things, basically follows the line of succession. Gary, I think has already started his term over at Central 9 in December, which was fantastic. We could get Gary started a little early. Rob is going to continue. When's your appointment up with the Bargersville Redevelopment Commission? Do you know?
They invited me to the next meeting, so I assume I've been re-upped.
And then my appointment to the Johnson County Redevelopment Commission was just approved by the county commissioners for 2 years this time, not 1 year. And I think it's good that we've got representation on those boards. And, you know, although we are non-voting advisory members, that's a mouthful to say, our influence on those boards, and as they begin to institute TIFs and tax levies and those types of things, I think is important for us to be able to weigh in on and have input on. And I mean, you know, one of the things that I think we all need to realize and think about is our community is changing. I-69 is going to be a game changer for our community. They're already talking about plans for a hotel, a Cracker Barrel, and a Casey's type of gas station at Smith Valley in 69. That's already in the works. I know there has been talk about a tech incubator at 144 and 69. And there's been some conversations around multifamily housing all along that I-69 corridor, which, you know, creates more need in the schools and in the buildings. And those are things that, you know, we're going to have to be cognizant of moving forward. But, you know, the landscape's going to change. I-69 is a game changer, and it's coming. So we got to figure out, you know, how we weigh into that and how we represent. And I think we are represented well now, at least on those redevelopment commissions. So any other questions from the board members about the board reorganization document? Do I need to make a?
Yeah, you need a motion.
I need a motion. Can I get a motion on the board reorganization document?
Mr. Go ahead.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the 2023 board organization sheet as presented.
I second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next up on the agenda are the 2023 board meeting dates. I'll let Tracy get that pulled up. So every year at this time, you know, the board always approves the board meeting dates for the year. And one of the things that, as we were working through the board reorg process, when I met everybody for breakfast or lunch or however it was I met with everyone, we talked about how do we engage the community and give the community opportunities to meet with the board. You know, board meetings as defined by ISBA and state statute are meetings that are held in public for the board to conduct its business, but they're not necessarily meetings for the public. Our board policy conforms with state law, in which we allow input on the action items prior to them being voted on at that board meeting. But as we gathered feedback, and we've tried various things over the last couple of years, we tried the community forums that didn't have quite the success that we were hoping. We want to try something different this year, and we want to do a segment 4 times a year, and those are indicated on this list, and they're basically at the end of each quarter, called For the Good of the Grove. Any community member can come and present things to the board on any topic. We're gonna start with 3 minutes for each speaker. We'll start with 15 minutes, and if we find we need to allocate more time one evening, the board can choose to do so, and you know, we may allocate up to 30 minutes, depending on the topics and what's going on at that particular time. Two things to point out. These will take place immediately following the board meeting. So the board's going to conduct this business in our normal fashion, and then we will adjourn immediately to a work session to take place immediately following the board meeting, and we'll start For the Good of the Grove. These meetings will not be live streamed or videotaped, just like we had done in the past with other things. The other thing is, I know Dr. Arkanoff has talked about restarting the coffee chats back up.
Yep.
I know from talking with the conversations with the board, we're going to try and get a couple of board members at those coffee chats. The thing to keep in mind is you can't get more than 2 of us there without advertising as an actual board meeting. So we're going to kind of rotate that responsibility around a little bit. And I do know from talking with all of the board members, all of us make ourselves accessible if anybody from the public wants to meet with us. I know I've done it, I know Jack's done it, I know Amy's done it, I think Gary's already done it on a couple of occasions already, Rob has done it. So, you know, reaching out to us and asking for a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever the case is, I mean, I know we are all open to those types of things too. So we're going to start with that, with the board meetings and for the good of the Grove at the end of each quarter, and then in the coffee chats, and we'll see how things go from there. And as we come up with new and different ideas, we'll figure it out from there. Sound good? All right. I need a motion to accept the board meeting dates for 2023.
Mr. President, I move we accept the board meeting dates as presented.
My second.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. There were new public comments this evening. All right. Next up is the consent agenda. Dr. Arkanoff?
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. This evening, I'm recommending that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Awesome. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, I was getting ready. Steve,
Yeah.
Tracy even told me to stop.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Well, this evening, you have just approved the new principal at Walnut Grove Elementary. This is Heather Gant. Heather, would you stand up for us, please? So welcome back. Heather, you're here tonight with your husband, Brian?
Yes,
And your daughters. Would you like to introduce everyone for us?
sure. This is Morgan. She's a junior at the high school.
Can you
And London, who is a sixth grader at Middle School Central.
Girls, stand up. I see you. Okay, great. All right. Fantastic. How exciting.
And Mr. Robinson is her favorite teacher.
There you go.
So my dear is
Well, welcome. It's good to have you back. So,
Yes, it's great to have you back.
Great.
very excited to be back.
And she started January 2nd?
yeah.
I came,
Yeah.
came Monday, wrapped up at Tuesday, and I've been here since.
And I know from the email chain, we already had her busy.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Anything else, Dr. Arkanoff, on the personnel
Yes.
report
No, I'm sorry, not on the
or
personnel.
on the consent agenda?
Not on the
You good?
consent. No. Well, we do have additional dates now, February 19th,
Oh,
7 a.m. board meeting. That will be a regular board meeting to accept bids for the Sugar Grove project. And then February 20th, we will have an 8 a.m. executive session.
January 20th.
January 20th.
They're,
Both those meetings are January.
Yeah, one's January 19th, the other's January.
sorry, they're both January. Thanks. Yep,
That's okay.
there you go.
Between the two of us,
We'll get it right.
we'll get it right.
Yes. Okay, that's it.
Anything else? Okay.
That's it.
There were no action items tonight, so do you have any other comments?
No, I'd just like to welcome all the board members, the old ones back, and getting older every day.
sure
Tomorrow is
not
Mr.
sure.
Alexander's birthday, so,
It's the big 5-0.
that's right. And Gary, Mr. Robinson, welcome on board, and looking forward to having you here with us.
What's that? I know. All right, Mr. Russell, any comments?
No,
Not
my
yet.
health is a little better. I'm hoping to get back to going to the state board meetings and other things that I used to do before this pastor came about.
Ms. Couch? Mr. Robinson?
I would like to thank
Scott and the board and everything. I really like seeing Mr. Cross Country. I really want to start the board meetings with some positives, and we got some other things academically and
everything else, and I got to turn the microphone on, I got. But I just really appreciate that. It was a good thing to celebrate the Center Grove students.
Mr. Dane? I think I already filled everybody in on the last Johnson County Redevelopment Commission meeting I was at. That's where I learned about the project out at Smith Valley in 69. So announcements. Immediately following tonight's board meeting, we will move to a Board of Finance meeting. That's a meeting we're required to hold every year. January 16th, 2023, no schools, Martin Luther King Day. February 20th, 2023, no school again for President's Day. Dr. Arkanoff already talked about the additional January
And those are the February ones.
board meetings. And then February 23rd, we have a 2 o'clock executive session, followed by our regular board meeting at 7 p.m. that evening. And with that, we will adjourn the regular meeting.